Life is so busy, if you blink, you can miss something amazing. It's important to take a moment and enjoy what we have and the people around us. I'm Mo Hagan, Chief Operating Officer for CanFit Pro, and welcome to A Moment with Mo, a podcast where I will welcome some incredible guests to talk fitness and nutrition, mindset and self-improvement, setting your goals into action, and much, much more. Now let's get chatting. Welcome along, everyone, to episode number 8, A Moment with Mo. In this episode, we will explore the profound connection between confidence and courage and how they intertwine, how they help to empower individuals to move through obstacles, to seize opportunities, and move forward in the direction of their true purpose. Now, confidence and courage can be described as inseparable companions on life's daring journey. And we can think of confidence as a fuel to move your courage forward. Conversely, courage can help nurture confidence. Now, together, they form this dynamic duo. And like I said, they help us seize the moment, seize opportunities, and really redirect our mindset towards what we truly desire. And mindset is the key. And that is the opportunity we have today to discuss with my dear friend and expert. And before I introduce my guest, I want to share a quote from Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas when it comes to confidence. Confidence, in her words, is described as a deep belief in oneself and one's abilities. It is the unwavering trust and faith in one's own potential to overcome obstacles, to take risks, and achieve success. Confidence is not based on external validation or comparison to others, but rather on the internal sense of self-worth and capability. Confidence is a mindset that empowers individuals to embrace their strengths, to acknowledge their weaknesses, and to continue to grow and learn. Therefore, confidence is not a fixed trait, but a skill that can be developed and strengthened through practice, through self-reflection, and a willingness to step out of one's comfort zone. I think of this skill development as training in the gym. Just like we want to build strength and muscle, to build our confidence, we must exercise and or train regularly. I'm sure you will agree with me that we've been put to task on both our confidence and courage over the last number of years, and especially and more likely even being demanded to work on both as we rebuild our lives and our business. Sometimes we need to work from a point of confident mindset. And then there are times where we need to work on building our mindset, therefore, to foster confidence and nurture courage. And that often takes the need of an expert to help us. And that is why we have the one and only Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas with us today. So welcome, Nathalie.
Hey, Mo, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so thrilled. We always work so well together.
Absolutely.
So thanks for inviting me.
Oh my gosh. Well, when I decided to start, I have to give you credit because I've worked with you for quite a few years in multiple capacities, and you have helped me in so many ways beyond what you know. But when I was invited to start my podcast, I had put it off for at least a year. I was, it's that mindset piece. And I found all the excuses. But when I really dig deep, I realized it really required me to power up my courage to unleash the power of my story through this platform. And so thank you, because I always have you in the back of my mind as that person to give me that nudge or sometimes that kick in the wazoo. So
I'm
today,
so in your corner. Yes.
Yeah, you're in my corner. But today I have you here to share all your wisdom, your skills, and more importantly, what I love is how you share with us the skills to develop, but you do it through incredible experiential learning, otherwise cool stories. And you have some incredible stories. I'd love you to share just a few. Before we get right into it today, I want to introduce you formally for those who may not have had the opportunity to meet or work with Nathalie yet. So allow me that opportunity, please. And I'm going to refer to my notes because Nathalie has quite the history and also accolades that I do not want to miss. Nathalie is, of course, #1 best-selling author. She is also the international best-selling author of 18 books, including 12, which are #1 bestsellers, and a book co-written with Kevin Harrington, my apologies, Kevin Harrington from the Shark Tank, endorsed by Tony Robbins. Nathalie is the founder and CEO of Think Yourself Academy, offering keynotes and trainings, leading-edge online courses, laser-focused business strategy, and one-on-one transformational coaching. Along the last, 30-year journey, Nathalie has inspired over 100,000 audience members and has empowered thousands of clients internationally to get rid of their negative self-talk. Nathalie combines over 10 years of experience in human resources, 25 years of experience in sales, and over 30 years of distinguished service in the fitness industry. She is on the board of directors of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, where she recently received the 2022 President's Award. And of course, Nathalie has been recognized in the fitness industry many times for her work, and most recently in 2021 as the Canadian Delegates' Choice Presenter of the Year. So there you have it. Welcome, Nathalie. I hope I didn't miss anything.
Oh my gosh, it's more than I need. I'm just a small town girl at the end of the day.
Well, hey, I love it. You know what? Why don't we go from the past to the present, and then we'll talk about the future. I'd love you to share real quick, small town girl. Tell us a little bit about your story as it leads into our conversation today.
For sure. I did move from a very small town to downtown Toronto, big city. I don't know if you've been there before, where you don't know anybody and you're new. And I started working for a gym, Good Life Fitness. And I don't know if you've been there, where you you have no friends. You really don't know what you're doing. And how do you go from begging your boss from taking your classes off the schedule because there's only 2 people in the schedule that comes to your classes, to becoming fitness instructor of the year for Canada less than a year later? So I'll tell you what happened. I have danced in the past. People didn't know that, but I danced for about 10 years prior to moving to Toronto. And the gym was introducing a dance program. So I thought, oh, cool, I will volunteer to be in the demonstrating team. So picture yourself, you're on stage, you're in front of 100+ instructors from Toronto. They're all so much better than you are. You're super intimidated, and you're giving it, and you're like, and then you got it, because you can see all the faces looking at you with a shocked look on their face. And then you're like, oh, I got this so much. So I don't know what this would do for you, but for me, it had a huge impact. I started after this strutting around in the gym. I could hear people whisper when I would walk around, right? And my classes started to be packed. I started putting my hand up to become team leader for this, team leader for that. A few months later, somebody corners me in the gym and says, Nathalie, I have to tell you, we really were really impressed with you, and we really started respecting you after what happened to you on that day. You acted as if it did not bother you at all. Huh? What is she talking about? What happened to me on that day that I acted as if it didn't bother me at all? Well, no, it turns out I had a wardrobe malfunction on that day. Boom! My boob had been sticking out the whole time.
Oh.
That's why everybody were looking at me with a shocked look on their face. But I didn't know. So, of course, when she told me, I wanted to disappear. But it was too late. I was already the queen of the gym. So I was responding to a different story in my head. And what matters is not the truth. This was one of the most embarrassing story in my life. But I was responding to a different story in my head. So what matters is the story we respond to, because I realized very soon in the fitness industry that clients that were successful was not because I was giving them a better kale salad recipe or because I was showing them a better way to squat. It was because they would change the way that they think, and they would start thinking differently. And that is why I started studying neuroscience, trying to figure out, how do I work on the mind? Like, I've worked enough on people's body, and the difference is being made with the mindset. So how do I work that? So I started studying neuroscience, created a system. That's the system I shared in all my book on stages around the world, and the rest is history. Now, confidence is my number one topic, and that's what I focus on. That little voice inside our head, right?
Yeah,
Not like we,
that little
yeah,
voice that can rule the
that's
world
really
unless.
nasty sometimes, right? Like, we
Uh-huh.
don't talk to people like this. Oh, wow, you look really fat in these jeans. Oh, you're starting a business. It's never going to work. You're not good enough. Like, we don't talk like this to other people. Of course not. But we talk to ourselves like that,
Wow.
unfortunately.
Well,
Mhm.
that is an example of a powerful story that really does set the tone for how we can actually work with this and to move ourselves forward. I always love to say we're all on a journey. And so today, what you are going to receive is incredible insights. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, Natalie. But before I do, I just want to say to all of you viewing or listening to this podcast, Nathalie will be back in person at CanFit Pro Global, taking place in August the 16th through the 20th, right in downtown Toronto, one of your many homes in the country. And it's always great to have you back. You are a featured speaker, also a sponsor, both for CanFit Pro Global. You are also an education partner. We'll talk about that when we talk about what you'll be presenting this year. And you're also a sponsor and a presenter at Women Who Influence, our 10th annual event.
Mhm.
So yes, and that one I know. And we're going to talk about what you're going to be speaking about there, because it is quite different and it is on the subject matter based on your expertise as a confidence coach. So I want to ask you this question as we get started. You've shared with me that it is normal to panic. That's something the brain is predisposed for. Can you tell us more about that?
So the brain has amazing functions, and we, if you've been following me for a while, or if you're new to this, the logical mind is where we live. It's that we can do 5 to 9 pieces of information at a time that we can process. That's not where we want to live at a logical level. We want to tap into the unconscious mind, because the unconscious mind can process 2.3 million pieces of information every second. So that's where the power is, and that's where we try to tap into. And those are two big areas of the brain that I like to talk about. But when we talk about panic happens in the prefrontal cortex. It's the first response to an event. And when something happens, like a pandemic, right? Because there's been so much going on, like in the past 3 years, right? Like, everything closed and then reopened and closed and reopened, and we started bathing in hand sanitizer. We had to wear masks. Oh yeah, breathing is not necessary, right? We had to reorganize our whole space for working at home, and then we had to be creative with our gym equipment. And like, it's been quite the journey that we've had, and it's perfectly normal to react like this, because we are right now today, even though we're potentially not wearing the masks anymore and this is not happening anymore, we have accumulated quite a bit of stuff. You probably heard the joke of the guy that enters a bar. He orders 3 beers and he drinks them. And then he orders 2 beers, drinks them both. And then he orders 1 beer and he drinks the beer. And he says, I don't understand. The least, the less I drink, the more I get drunk. I don't get it. So it's not the 1 beer that got him drunk. It's the accumulation, because he had already drank 5 beers before that, right? So it's the accumulation. And it's not that one little thing. Like, you're in the kitchen cooking, your daughter comes behind you and she says, hey, mommy. And you go, what? And then you're like, oh my gosh, what have I done? And then this is not how you wanted to react. But in your prefrontal cortex, you were still thinking about the bills to pay, about that new computer system at work, about there's stuff that's accumulated, and there's 3 years of pandemic on top of that. So, and sometimes you start crying, and you're like, I don't know why I'm crying because of that. I just lost my scarf. You know what I mean? Like it's the
So true.
accumulation. It's not the one thing, it's the accumulation. And how is it normal? It's because there's a few brain function that we want to understand about the brain. The brain somehow remembers things, deletes stuff, generalizes stuff, and distorts stuff. So and there's other things, but the brain remembers, but not exactly what we wanted to remember. Sometimes you forget your wedding anniversary date, or you're like, where's my phone? Where are my glasses? Like, this is important stuff, but you go in the kitchen and you forgot where you were there. Oh, what did I want again? So our brain deletes stuff and remembers stuff, but not necessarily what's important. You know the lyrics of a song from 1948, but you don't remember why you went in the kitchen. So the brain distorts and deletes, and we have to be very intentional when we decide. When you meet somebody and you shake their hand and they say, hi, my name is Nancy, and you repeat, oh, I'm so bad with names. No, you just ruined it. You just told your brain, please forget that. You have to say, Nancy, I will remember your name. Say it again, Nancy. And then you do association and you tell your brain, I really want to remember this. You've got that little personal assistant in your head with a notepad. And that personal assistant is going to do whatever you say or think. So if you say, I'm really bad with names. Oh, she's bad with names. Nancy, scratch that off. I'm never going to remember that. So we have to be intentional with what we want to remember, what we want to delete, generalize. Oh my gosh, something happens once and we generalize. Oh, all men are terrible, or all bosses are bad, all salespeople are bad, right? Selling is a bad thing, or exercise is hard. When you lose weight, you always gain it back. So you generalize. It happens once or twice, and then you generalize. And the worst one that's really connected to panicking is distortion. We exaggerate. We distort all the time. I can tell you a story. We were in Haiti, so I do some work with Haiti, and I don't know if you know that, but food in Haiti is a lot more precious than money. Okay, so one day we're in the truck, we're bringing some food to one of the satellite churches, and we get stuck on the way back. So let me just tell you, we always travel with an armed guard in Haiti, because especially when we travel with food, because we could get attacked anytime. It's like we're carrying $5 million cash. The problem is we got stuck on the way back. We didn't have our guard with us because the food had been delivered. So we're stuck in that riverbed, and we're pushing and we're not going anywhere. It's 40 degrees. We're exhausted. And now pretend you're there, and you see this giant Haitian guy coming down from the tree with a huge machete. So we start panicking, and then we're like, okay, well, there's 6 of us. Maybe we can take him. And then the more he walks towards you, the bigger he becomes. And you're like, oh my gosh, my mom was so right to worry about me. And I'm never coming back home. This is it. Oh my gosh. And do we have a will? Like everything goes in your head, right? So as he gets really close, he's got this big bag on his shoulders. So he puts it on the floor, takes out a coconut, and then with his machete, cuts the top of the coconut, and he hands it to my husband. And he says, I thought maybe you were thirsty. I saw you push there for like an hour, and you look like you could use some coconut water.
Wow.
And in our mind, we totally distorted the whole thing. So our brain is predisposed to distort. 70% of our thoughts are negative. We just do that. And we make up stuff. Maybe this will happen, and 40% of what we worry about is never going to happen. It's just not. It's absolutely crazy. So we are this predisposition to distort stuff all the time.
And that's why we need to work on our mindset and or work with someone to help us, especially as we all have lived experiences that perhaps distort and exaggerate things, as well as, forget the successes, the strengths that you have, and you only focus on the weaknesses, all of that. That's what keeps you in business, but also
Yeah.
allows you to do incredible work with so many people, from whether they're just starting their business or whether they are, you know, the Tony Robbins of the worlds that you get to work with now. So yeah, unbelievable. And did I not tell you all how incredible it is to learn from Nathalie, because she does it through storytelling that helps you all imagine and also relate to. So thank you for that. That was just a stellar way to describe how our brain works and what we're predisposed to. So if our brain does play tricks on us, what can we do to be more courageous when facing challenges?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's it's called psychoneuroimmunology.
What?
What the heck is that? Psychoneuroimmunology is the fact that when your brain perceived something from your body, it will continue to send whatever is needed for this to continue as the cycle. So you start feeling bad, let's say, or scared, or like an imposter, or what it is that we're feeling nowadays. And now your brain receives the feeling from your body and says, we're feeling afraid. Oh, what thought could I generate to make them feel even worse? Like they want to feel afraid. So then it sends a message to the body. So the body feels even worse. And as the body doesn't feel so good, it sends a message to the brain that says, we're feeling worse now. Oh, we're feeling worse. Okay. So what else could I add to this? And that's that psychoneuroimmunology cycle where we make ourselves physically sick also uh, ourselves, because the way the brain does that is through different chemicals. And if you start feeling good, then it's going to send a message to your brain saying, we feel good. Oh, we feel good now. Okay, so what thought could I send so we feel even better? And then it will continue that cycle. You've heard of cortisol. That's one of the negative chemicals. So when we have these nasty thoughts, and it's not having nasty thoughts, is perceiving them to be. Okay, so something
Mm.
happens, okay, and you perceive it to be bad, and you go into anxiety. Or you could perceive it to be exciting and go into curiosity. The brain does not know the difference between anxiety and excitement. So the brain will process that information and then will say, oh, are we excited? Okay, if we're excited, I'm going to send some feel good chemicals through the bloodstream. But if we decide it's anxiety, I'm going to pollute you with 1,400 chemicals, including cortisol, and that will make you feel worse. So that's what we do to ourselves. So for that reason, when something happens, we need to decide to send the good chemicals. So you need to go into curiosity. And how do we do that? You have to see the event happening in question as a delivery truck in your driveway. So there's a truck coming in. We receive a lot of packages. And in real life, if you're not there, they leave it right there under the rain, right? And they don't care. But in that brain is story that I'm telling you, the truck doesn't go anywhere. The truck stays in the driveway until you open the door. And the truck has to deliver you a package. It has to give you this gift, this positive learning. That's why the truck is in your driveway, to deliver you with this positive learning. But we don't have time to open the door because you're ignoring it, because you're like, oh, well, I'm in front of my coworkers, so I have to smile and pretend that everything is okay. I'm with client. I'm just training somebody right now. I can't. I'm just, oh, now everything is good. And now you're in front of the class, like, and you're teaching, and you're like, okay, 3 more curls, and you're smiling, and woo-hoo, yay! And we don't open the door, and then you go home, and then your daughter is like, how are you, mommy? Mommy, are you okay? Oh yeah, mommy's fine. Everything's good. So we don't open the door, and the truck stays there, and then another truck comes in, and another truck comes in, and another truck comes in. And that's when we go into sick leave, into depression, into deep anxiety. Things happen, and a lot of experiences that we live through are traumatic. You don't need to have been in a house on fire to live a traumatic event. I do work with PTSD, with Army vets, with people that have been abused, and PTSD is very real, and you would be very surprised as to the SUDS number, like the subjective units of distress that we measure to establish that somebody has PTSD on car accident, on things that bad news that you receive could cause PTSD, or just an event that did not feel so big causes PTSD. So there's a lot of big event that happen, but if we don't open the door and we leave the truck in the driveway, the truck is going to stay there, and that's when the bigger problems start to happen. So we need to open the door. So here's the key. Every time there's a truck in your driveway, you have to say, instead of, oh my gosh, this is uncomfortable, you're allowed to do that 30 to 90 seconds, because an emotion loop is 30 to 90 seconds, right? So you get into the loop and then you exit the loop. That's what we were doing as kids, right? Children, you've seen that. They're super happy and then temper tantrum and then super happy again, right? That's what children do. But they exit the loop much easier than us, right? But as we age, we stay in our loops and we stay stuck. And I've helped people that have been stuck for years in that anger loop, and that everything, they're mad at the whole world, or they're sad all the time, or they're afraid of everything, and they feel like they're an imposter, and they do procrastination and they overthink everything. So you go through your one loop and you say, how do I exit the loop? The key to exit the loop is that one question. What am I learning? This event is designed to give me a package. What's my gift? Open the door and say, what am I learning? And then you can go with curiosity and say, oh, what am I learning? Cool. I'm feeling that way. Ooh, that's uncomfortable. That means I'm learning something. Okay. So if I'm learning something, what is it? How am I going to get better? In a year from now, I'm going to look back and I'm going to say, what did I learn from this? How could that potentially be a good thing? And of course, there's a series of questions that you can ask yourself also that will help you when you're on the spot. But usually when we talk about courage specifically, because I'm remembering the question that you initially asked, is what do we do to feel more courageous? Well, being courageous, if you think about it, is being able to do something that you want to do. You know you should be doing it, and you need courage to go into action, right? So you need to stop procrastinating and you need to stop overthinking. So there's a few tricks actually that I put together. So if you go to thinkyourself.com/stop overthinking, so thinkyourself.com/stop overthinking, there's 5 keys. And each key is giving you one specific chemical that your brain, psychoneuroimmunology, can send through your bloodstream to make you feel better. How do you get these feel-good chemicals? So there's 5 tricks there that you could download. So if you want to generate oxytocin, generate dopamine, generate endorphins, so there's, and you know, in the fitness industry, how to generate endorphins, right? We know that when we exercise, it really sends a feel-good chemical through our bloodstream. There's other ways to generate these things. There's hundreds of them. I put together just a 5-tip to stop overthinking when you're stuck into that loop, how to get out of that loop. And the one, find the learning. What am I learning is super important. So that's more likely the most important one that you can use right away to be more courageous.
I love that. You know, I have to be honest, I was reflecting back to moments just this past week that brought me anxiety and raised my blood pressure to the point where I had that headache. And just listening to you share that strategy about the truck in the driveway, there's a gift for you. Like, you get that package, think of it as a gift. You got to stop procrastinating, stop blaming it on, you don't have time, Mo. open the bloody door, get your gift, and be curious. And as soon as I thought of that, I thought, oh, what can I learn from this situation? I immediately felt biophysiological changes in my body here, right now.
Yeah.
And I thought to
And
myself, why didn't I think of that then? But now I am armed with this strategy, and I'm so grateful because I actually just felt my posture lift and my stress diminish just
good.
listening to you share that. So thank you. I'm sure others will receive that too, but it's such an incredible way to trick the brain just to change that whole vicious cycle. And my question was, how quickly can you do that? But you shared that you said 30 to 60 or 30 to 90 seconds.
30 to 90 seconds. One question you can ask right away is, will freaking out help? Because honestly, you cannot not answer a question. So if you ask yourself, okay, will freaking out help? How am I when I freak out? And you visualize yourself freaking out and you're like, oh, I'm not very resourceful when I'm like this. So which me do I want to fix that problem? Do I want the one that's freaking out or the one that is calm that can, because that's what I do in organization when I work with VPs, with managers, with leaders, with team members. Decisions that are made are worth thousands of dollars and tens of thousands of dollars very often. So it's very important that decisions are made clearly with their experience, their wisdom, everything that they know, and not because they're panicking and that's human nature. The brain will take us to exaggerate and everything. So having the tool to have access to your best self, because if you're an entrepreneur and you're in business, you want to be your best self when you're with your clients and when you're working on your business as well, when you're creating stuff, when you're marketing yourself, when you're selling yourself. You don't want to be blurred by these limiting beliefs and by these emotions that are all these trucks in your driveway that are making you panic. So freaking out will never help. Just by asking you that question, it kind of helps.
Very much.
And breathe for 90 seconds, because as you're breathing, just breathe. Like give yourself 90 seconds and say, okay, freaking out is not going to help. I want to be at my best right now. So
that's
go for a walk.
Love it. So speaking of working with business leaders and CEOs of companies, when you started your business, did you feel courageous? And, did you have doubts? How did you work through that for yourself?
Oh my gosh. Well, absolutely not. And I'm French, right? And I wanted to become a professional speaker and I wanted to write books. And then the voice in my head was telling me, what? You want to be a professional speaker, like in English? You don't even speak English. What? You want to write books in English? What? It's never going to work. You're not good enough. And at the end of the day, I remember so feeling like an imposter. And I made a video because that's what you do when you want to be hired to speak. You have to show people you can speak on a stage. But I didn't have a lot of resources, but finally got to hire a cameraman with 3 cameras to create this video reel, right? So we had 3 cameras. So one for the close up, one for the wide angle, and then a camera behind me to see the large audience. But the problem was there was only 20 people in the room. There was no large audience. So we kept asking people to move from one section to another, and then we would record. And then when we put all the segments together, then it looked like there was a large audience. It was all the same people. Anyway, that worked. That speaking engagement got me a phone call one day, and they asked for my rate, and I didn't have a corporate rate. So I go, 250. And then they go, okay, so for the 4-hour training, that would be 1,000. I almost passed out, right? Because I meant 250 for the whole thing. Right? So I go, yes, that's correct, $1,000. So I hung up the phone, and I should have been excited, but I didn't. I was very feeling like a fraud because see that video I had made making the audience look bigger than it really was, and my made up corporate rate, none of it was real. I was just trying to look more than I really was because I felt like just me was not enough. And I have a whole session on this, on imposter syndrome, and why we do that, and why sometimes we do the reverse of what we know we should be doing, and what happens in the brain. But what I'm going to say is, this moment, I remember still sitting in my office feeling like a fraud, um, made me realize that I needed to do something to change that voice inside my head, because it was not serving me at all. And discovered that 85% of people lack of self-confidence in at least one area of their life. Makes me feel a little less alone, right? Because
Yeah.
it does happen to a lot of people to feel that way as well. And that 70% of our thoughts are negative. So I thought, can I change that? And that's the system I created that got me recognized internationally, because I can now tap into the 6 layers of the brain that can and that needs to be addressed in order to make a permanent or transformational change. Because when we work in the fitness industry with exercise and nutrition, it is not enough. That's one layer. It's the behaviors and the environment, the spandex, the weights, the gym itself. That's just environment and behavior. There's 4 other layers that we need to address. And if somebody has a limiting belief that when they lose weight, they will always gain it back, or that exercise is hard, or I am weak, or I am not good enough, you can't fix a limiting belief at the identity level trying to apply a behavioral solution to this. A behavior being exercise and nutrition. If somebody says, I'm not good enough, you can't fix that with an environment solution with designer shoes or a big truck. It's not going to work. You're not fixing a belief with something in the environment. You have to address the problem where it is. And that's when I started to really address what was going on, that I was able to start having success for myself, and now for all my clients too.
Wonderful. How many years have you now built your business over? What period of time?
15 now.
15.
The Think Yourself Academy. Yeah, we Think Yourself Academy is 15 years old. It was back in November. Yeah.
I remember the first time you did a Think Yourself workshop at a Good Life Club in Toronto as a 1-hour member education session, and look where it's taken you. It's unbelievable, and huge applause. And thank you so much for, imagine the impact you've had in the world when the stats that you share are so dramatic, as such as 85% of people lack that self-confidence, and 70% of our thoughts are negative. Like, that's just the amount of opportunity that you've had to impact and change lives. Live your why is just incredible.
And I just want to say something, because that's one thing that just happened just now. And I would like to say something, because somehow, especially women, for some reason, we have a hard time accepting compliment. So every time you receive a compliment, and Mo just told me that I was pretty awesome. So you have to say, you're doing right, I'm awesome. Yes, I am. Because there's this thing of, no. Yeah, you're darn right, I'm awesome. Thank you very much. So every time that you receive a compliment, every time you give one to somebody, if they deflect it, just say, take it. Yes, it's correct. It's right. Tell your personal assistant in your head that it's true. Because when somebody else gives it to you, it has a lot more impact than when you say it inside your head. Yeah.
That is fantastic. That's a fantastic piece of advice. I remember the first time that I received that from my coach prior to you, and Sue challenged me for 1 week. Every time you receive a compliment, even if it's just in passing, oh, love your shoes, love your hair, instead of saying, oh, well, my hair's actually dirty, but say, thank you.
Thank you. You're darn right.
You're darn right. I have fabulous hair. And it changes your whole your whole belief.
Yeah.
You walk around the rest of the day and it's like, yes, I have fabulous hair. Anyways, that was a great piece of advice, and it works, because if you practice it and you become it, it's incredible how you show up differently, and you support all those, positive hormones versus the negative lack of self-belief in your body. And you are the boss. You are the boss of how you choose to be in this one precious life. So let's speak about what you'll be sharing at CanFit Pro Global. We kick off with our 10th annual Women Who Influence event. I've been telling everyone about this year's event. It's quite different than years gone by, and you've been part of many of those years, but you are going to be speaking and sharing something that is so urgently needed today, is how to help people be really effective in networking. We've lost that skill because we've all been remote for a number of years. But share with us what you're going to be doing at Women Who Influence, and then we'll jump into the conference.
Awesome. So at Women Who Influence, we'll do a super fun exercise to demonstrate the power of your brain. So that stay tuned for that. It's going to be really cool. Just so you will have the proof that you are absolutely incredible, and you'll say, "You're darn right. I'm so smart." We will also teach you how to get out of an emotional loop, and we'll actually practice that on when something happens. We'll practice on tools to get out of that emotional loop. So that's going to be really cool. And there's going to be an interactive portion as well, where you will test a new tool to turn off the panic button. So
Yay.
when the panic button is engaged, what I do with my client is I remove the panic button so nobody can push it. We can't do that in a big crowd like this, but at least I'll give a tool so that at least you could turn off the panic button so that if something happens, you can turn that off. So that's going to be kind of what I'll be doing with Women Who Influence. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, wow. Everyone who comes always says they leave a different version of themselves. In this case, they definitely will. And it'll be amazing to watch this transform in front of our eyes. You'll be speaking at CanFit Pro Global, and you have 4 things going on there. One that I really want you to focus on, because it's an amazing opportunity to not only participate in Nathalie's Think Yourself Academy coach certification, but with Nathalie in person. So I would love to start by asking you to share a little bit about, and don't tell us everything, just tell us what would be your key tip that you're going to share in a very unique panel. It's a featured women's leadership panel. It's called The Courage to Lead Her. And you are sponsoring that. Think Yourself Academy will be sponsoring that session, and you'll be a featured panelist. What is one thing you can tell us about your platform in that session?
So during the Courage to Lead Her, what I like about panels is that I will let people tell me what they need. And that's the beauty of a panel, because I'm very good at preparing some stuff. I know my material. I can learn it. I can practice it. And I find that when you go to a panel, it is a privilege to be able to ask the person that burning question that you really want to ask, that you really want an answer to. And that's what I will be there for. So I'm not saying that I'm not preparing anything. I will do a bit of a presentation, of course, with an opening, so that we can trigger in your mind what is it that you've been wanting to ask. It's like an ask me anything. You need courage, you want to lead, and it can be business, it can be anything that you want to ask. I'll be there, whatever you want to ask. I won't, maybe not, I might not talk about my bra size, but anything else, whatever.
I'm liking this. We'll have to connect on how we can build that in the session. I can see that being really interactive and really will help to unleash courage to get that input from the audience. I love where you're heading with this. So to be created, and you will not want to miss it. For those who are registering for CanFit Pro Global, that session is on Saturday afternoon. Check it out. You'll be able to find it in the curriculum. So tell us about your other sessions, Nathalie, quickly, and then we'll close. Yes. I have a really important question I want to make sure I can ask you.
Okay. So I'll start at the end of the conference on this Sunday, all day on Sunday between 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then there'll be closing ceremony that we'll all go to. And then between 2 and 5 p.m. So it's an 8-hour in-person coaching certification. If you want to do what I do, if you want to become coach yourself because you're doing bicep curl beside your client and then she's saying, oh, I think I need to divorce my husband. And you're like, 3 more? I don't know what to do with this. You know? So if you want to have real skills, real tools and what to do with coaching somebody, I will teach you the whole DNA system. It's a certification that is available right now. You could start it online on my platform and it's all pre-recorded. This one, you have access to everything that's pre-recorded, plus 8 hours with me that we won't have time to finish the whole thing. You don't get certified at the end of the day. You will still have a homework to do to give me later. And we will talk again after the 8 hours, but we will get a really good start. We will be able to pair with other people doing the certification as well to do a bit of practice. So that's going to be an awesome in-person coaching certification. If you want to do what I do and start charging $350 an hour instead of 70, then that might be for you. You might be at the stage of your career where you want to go farther than just the exercise and nutrition. Then we have on the Saturday, why your client self-sabotage. So that is Saturday morning at 10 a.m. And Friday morning, the ultimate cues for a fitness professional. You know, we all say, push through the pain, feel the burn. Well, that's the worst thing you could say to your client because their personal assistant is hearing pain, burn. Okay, I should hate exercise and it sucks. You know, so what should we say? And people that come to that session also receive an 80 cues guide, the ultimate cues for fitness professional, to know what to say to your clients instead of push through the pain. Almost there. You know?
I'll never get there. Almost there. Okay, I guess I'll never get there because I'm almost, but not there. Wow. So you heard it here first. Very incredible bonuses and extra value add to be in any of Nathalie's sessions. You are the maestro of providing resources. And I love hearing that not only will you be able to work in person with you, but receive access to your incredible self-directed learning and all your recordings. So you don't want to miss this opportunity, especially as you said, you're here on your journey to move yourself forward. This would be the perfect opportunity. This is the year.
Yeah.
So before we close, we've shared so much today. This is invaluable. I'm sure you all agree. Nathalie, the question I have for you, I've been asking everyone on my podcasts and in all the interactions I've been having, and I've been really, really intrigued by the responses, and they're all very unique. My question to you is, what is calling on your courage this year to move yourself in the direction of your purpose, your next step in your journey, perhaps?
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And no, Mo did not share that question with me beforehand. So if I'm wondering right now, what is calling the most courage for me? I have, we've just spent the last 3 or 4 months completely revamping my children's program, The Adventures of Captain Vic. And now we're bringing all the research into it. So that is not something I love creating. I'm an outgoing person. And for me to read and read and read so many different research on children, brains and perseverance. And it's something that I find fascinating, but it's not my favorite thing to do. So every day I'm asking myself, okay, come on, this is for the greater good. And with all, because I really believe that the more my program has some research to support it, to say, here's why it works and here's the proof why, because we're in about 100 schools now. It's been going well, but I would like to really tap into a bigger international market. And for that, if I have all the research to support everything that is presented in the program, so that's requiring a lot of courage from me right now to put the researcher hat back on, and to say, okay, now I'm in study mode, and it's not my favorite thing, and I'm willing to push through. I'm willing to learn. I'm fascinated by the topic. It is interesting. So it's dedicating the time and say, okay, that's what I'm doing, and I'm chunking up some time to do what's important. Yeah.
Congratulations and well done. You've got this because you're awesome.
Thank you.
So remember, everyone, that today you've heard it here. Confidence and courage are twin forces. They help enable, empower us to move and overcome obstacles, see opportunities, and seek curiosity to reach our personal potential, our fullest potential, so that we can succeed at what it is that we choose to become, to experience. The theme of our 30th annual CamFit Pro year, this is why I've been talking about it all year, is courage. Courage to become. Courage is the key that unlocks the power of your story. And that is important to share, because as we share our story, our lived experiences, it helps others find the courage, and with help, harness their confidence to be courageous at whatever they seek. And I appreciate, Nathalie, I would love you to share how people can reach out to you, work with you, and connect with you for your various tools and courses. Take it away.
Absolutely. So you can connect with thinkyourself.com. So right on my website, there's in the contact area. If you want to email me, it's Nathalie with an H, Nathalie at thinkyourself.com. On social, I'm Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas or Think Yourself Academy. Pretty easy to find. And if you want to book a free virtual coffee with me, just a 15-minute free chat, it's Nathalie at, you go to thinkyourself.com/schedule. So thinkyourself.com/schedule. And we can have a little virtual coffee together and see how I can help you.
Yeah. It's a powerful virtual coffee. Let me tell you, it's beyond the caffeine boost that you will experience.
Thank you so much, Mo, for inviting me. I have to say that you mentioned at the beginning that I was inspiring you and that you could hear my voice in your head. Well, guess what? Guess whose voice I'm listening to all the time when there's a challenge for me and I hear your voice saying, really? You don't think I can do that? Watch me. Because that's what Mo says all the time, is watch me. Because Mo has zero fear. Like, she's moving forward all the time. And the past 15 years in the fitness industry, she's the pioneer. She's breaking the ceilings, and she's not just lifting, she's pulling us as she climbs. So Mo, you have done extraordinary things for the fitness industry. For me personally, I've always looked up to you, and it's so such an honor to be here now, and for you to tell me that I somehow would inspire you. So it's a full circle, and I'm so pleased that our relationship is back and forth, and you inspire me as much as I potentially inspire you. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Nathalie. And thank you, everyone viewing and watching this episode. I know that you are thoroughly enriched by the learning today. And as I would like to say, enjoy the moments.